in a bath of ProScale lacquer thinner, or just paint thinner, and with a toothbrush and the airbrush, jet washed it all off, scrubbed it off, and it has no detrimental effect to the resin at all. Cleaned it all up completely, as you can see, looks like brand new resin. Dried it all off, air dried it, hit it over with some of our degreaser again to neutralize the lacquer thinner, let it all dry off, and here we are a few hours later, priming it in Tamiya pink primer. So, why am I using Tamiya? Well, I've got tons of Tamiya primer because it's the primer I used to use before ProScale, and it's just sitting there. I've got a ton of Tamiya TS paints I'm trying to sell. I've got about 40 brand new tins never used. So if anybody wants any, give me a shout and I'll do you a good deal. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to use it, get it done and out of the way. So it's the first time I've used Tamiya primer in quite some time. So we're going pink because we're going red paint. So just building the coats up nice and lightly, not hosing it on. Now, unlike a lot of primers, Tamiya does like to go on wet. So we get the first coat on pretty dry, and then in the last coat, we're going to put a nice wet coat down. So you can see there, it is going on wet. We have got the airbrush whacked almost all the way back, giving it a good, generous coat of primer. So we'll let this sit and flash off for probably about 4 or 5 hours. Basically, I try to time all my modelling on my time in the cave. So I'm going to guess this is probably around lunchtime. So I'll bugger off out the cave, go watch some TV in the house, spend some time with Hannah, and then come back out at 5 PM that evening, and this will all be ready to go again. So I always try and time things so that when I come back, I'm not waiting again. But there we go. There's a nice, generous, probably 3 or 4 coats of Tamiya primer there through the Iwata Revolution. And now we've got Mazda Blaze Red. I think red is going to be a much better colour for this car. The blue just hid all the lines of the car, that lovely subtle body kit, and I think red is the colour. Now, ProScale paints red. We're not putting it on wet, we're just doing a nice thin coat. This will cover super fast over the pink primer. Pink is the ideal primer colour for red. Not only does it allow it to cover quick, it also makes the red absolutely pop. And trust me, when you see this thing at the end, this thing is red. It could not be any redder. So yeah, a bit of a calamitous start. Well, not really, just a change in colour. The blue did look good. The blue is a beautiful colour. It just doesn't suit this body. And I kind of had my doubts the whole way through, but I just carried on thinking, do you know what? Then I got the Nissan Skyline R33 400R, and blue's the main colour on that. And I thought, do you know what? Yeah, we're going to do a different colour. So this is where the Blaze Reds come from. So light coat's building it up. So we got our first coat down. This only had about 4 coats of paint on it. It did not need many at all to get the depth and coverage, which is the benefit for priming over pink. So I used barely any other bottle at all. We have got the wing mirrors to do off to the side as well, and the wing mirror mounts. And funny story, later on in the video, we lose the wing mirrors and have to find some alternatives. So yeah, they're here the whole time while we're spraying. And then I must have thrown them in the bin because at some point through the build, they just vanish. They're gone. So no idea what happened there. But like I say, this red cover's absolutely beautiful. Iwata CR3 Revolution at about 18 PSI. Like I say, probably 4, maybe 5 coats of this. Just nice light coats building it up. And as I say, this thing, once it's 2K'd, it could not be any redder. There's our mirrors. So they're the outer mirror parts. And we've also got the inner ones. As you see, at about 5 coats, that red, it's certainly red. There is no getting away from the fact that this thing is red. It's a beautiful colour from Mazda. Don't forget, as always, not only can you get early access on those videos by becoming a patron, you get over a month early access. You get a Saturday exclusive at the bench update. You get into a Facebook exclusive messenger chat group. There's about 70 of us in there. We have a good laugh and show our models and have a chat through the day. There's also a Facebook exclusive modelling group as well, and your support also helps me keep able to do these videos. This is my job. This is what I do for my living. Without the support of the patrons, I couldn't do this. So if you want to become a patron, there's a link down below. You can cancel any time. So you can come over, have a look. If it's not for you, cancel, and if you want to continue support, you can do so. Also, don't forget, ProScale, we will colour match any paints. Go over to our ProScale website, which is linked in the description down below. If you don't see a colour that you want, drop us a message on our contact form, and I'll do my utmost to try and find the colour for you. So the paint's been dry now for probably about 4 or 5 hours again, and we're going to put on a really nice dark Tamiya panel line wash. So we've got some Tamiya grey panel line wash, and some black to give us a really nice dark grey wash. Like I say, this thing is beautiful. The red is absolutely fantastic. And we're going to put any wash in anything that will hold it. So if it's recessed, it's getting a wash. We did drill out all the rivets earlier on, so they are pre-drilled. And like I say, the reason for doing that is once we're 2K'd, I can find the holes really easy again, even though our 2K doesn't really fill anything in. It was just kind of a safety thing to do to make sure I could find the holes. So enamel-based wash, just touch it to the surface, let the capillary reaction carry it. Now we're putting the enamel over lacquer so they don't react at all, and we're going to wipe it off later on, let it dry for about 30 minutes, and wipe it off with Sansador is the word I'm looking for. So the wash is all dried, we've wiped it off, it's the following day, and we're going to 2K. So this is a second round of 2K in this car. So we're going to do a 2-to-1 mix of the clear and activator. So say 10 millilitres of clear and 5 millilitres of the activator. Obviously you can judge how much you need. 6 mil of clear and 3 mil of hardener is normally enough. As long as it's a 2-to-1 mix of clear to hardener, that is fine. So 2 parts clear, 1 part hardener. I do have a full video on 2K'ing separately on the channel. You can go and have a look at that if you wish. So there's 10 millilitres of clear, 5 millilitres of the hardener. We put the lid back on the hardener and get that out of the way. And then using the pipette we just used for the hardener, we stir it all, get the chemical reaction going, because it is a catalyst, I believe. Once we've done that, we will throw away that pipette forever. It will never be reused. And then we've got our thinner, and we're going to have 5% thinner to that 15 milliliter mix, which works out to be about 0.75 mil of thinner. So 0.75 millilitres. Give that all a good mix up. Get it all mixed up. Again, throw the pipette away, and we're ready to go. So we're going to strain it. I always strain my 2K as a matter of course through our 190 micron paint strainer, which again we sell over on ProScale should you wish to get some. And then that's popped in the corner, again, never to be used again. And then we put our mix to one side. Anti-static brush all over the moulds, get rid of any dust that may be on there. We've got our booth moistened with water, so if any dust lands in it. Fresh paper, kind of fresh filter in the booth. Plastic box to stop the dust land on the model between coats. I'm double gloved on that left hand. My left arm's covered. Single gloved on the right hand with nitrile gloves. I would only recommend using nitrile gloves. They're the only ones that are kind of impervious to 2K. I've got my full face respirator on. And I'm in the room on my own with my bench vent A300S booth. So all the precautions necessary to spray 2K as safe as possible. And we've got my Water Revolution CR5, 5 millimeter, sorry, I'll say that again, 0.5 millimeter airbrush, which is my preferred choice of weapon for 2K. And we're going to put a semi-gloss coat down on the first coat. So we're not trying to get a full gloss. We're paying attention to getting all around those air dams on the front bumper and those bonnet kind of bulges at the back. There we go, just getting there. And we're just putting down a semi-gloss coat. Now, red's good because you can see where my coats are going. And as you see, with every pass, we're overlapping the previous one just ever so slightly. That way we keep the wet edge all the way along. Not forgetting to do all the wheel arches, in and around the sills, in and around the bottom of the bumpers, front and rear. And there we go. Once we're happy we've got a nice uniform semi-gloss coat on it, we'll pop it in our box for 3 to 5 minutes and let it flash off. While it flashes off, it'll go nice and tacky, which will allow us to put another wet coat on without the risk of any runs. And nobody likes the runs, do they? We're going to do the mirrors at the same time, which is pretty fruitless, seeing as we're going to lose half of them later on. But anyway, we're going to do them at the exact same time. So be aware the smaller parts need a lot less paint. So take your time here, don't overspray too much. And there we go. Now that's going to go back in the box for 3 to 5 minutes. Just let it flash off. Like I said, it'll go super tacky. Then we'll come back for coat number 2 here. I've sped this up a bit because otherwise it's a bit drawn out. And again, we're going to put a similar coat on again, another semi-wet coat. Following the wet edge again. We're not trying to get a flawless clear coat on this. We're just getting down a nice clear coat wet layer. So just work our way around again. So it's 0.5 millimeter airbrush. We're at about 22 psi. As you can see, we're just laying down that nice semi-wet coat and we're starting to build it up nicely. Now what we're going to do here, once we're done, we're going to do our wing mirrors at the same time as well, is we're going to pop it back in the little box for 90 seconds or so, let that 2K self-level out a bit, and then we're going to thin what's left of our mix 10% more. So that will give us a much thinner clear coat, which will self-level even nicer over the existing one. So what we'll do is we'll pour back into the cup we had previously, out the airbrush, so we get all the 2K out of the airbrush. We'll then put that in a fresh cup so we can see the markings on the side of the cup. And if we've say got 10 millilitres of clear mix left, we're going to add 10% thinner, which would be another milliliter, which I've just done there. So fresh pipette again into the thinner bottle, and then we're going to stir this up again, get it all mixed, and again throw the pipette away forever and never reuse it. Do not contaminate the other bottles with the different solutions or you'll ruin your 2K set. We're going to clear the airbrush out of any 2K that may be left in there, and then pop in our thinner mix. Now, even though you've only thinned it 10%, it is now considerably thinner, and it does spray a lot easier. And because of this, it will self-level a lot better as well. So, we've already got a nice 2K coat down, and we're going to go around with exactly the same. This is sped up again. With our thinned third coat, the 2K will self-level a lot nicer, sprays a lot easier, and will give us a nice glass-like finish. Now, I know a lot of people have tried thinning it more from the beginning. I think it's detrimental to the finish. I think it sprays better with 5% for the first two coats and 10% for the last. So we've put our 2K down, just doing our mirrors. We'll put it back in that box for 60 seconds or so, and then we'll get it out. It's self-leveled a bit. We'll have a look around, looking for any imperfections. If there's even a hint of orange peel, we'll just put another light coat over the offending area just to get rid of it. Now, R2K is very, very forgiving. It's surprising just how much you can put down. And the finish I got on this was absolutely immense. It's a beautiful colour. And like I said earlier on, it's certainly red. There is no getting away from that. But I'm just using the light and angling it, looking for any slight imperfections, orange peel in the paint. And I can't really see any other than just on the roof and along the top of the sides. It's just a case using the light, angle it, have a look. If you think it needs a bit more, just put a little bit more down. How this looks now is how it's going to dry. So you want it to look as flawless as possible. If there's any orange peel, put more down. It's a simple rule of 2K. Don't be afraid to push it. Quick look at the mirrors, very quick light blast over, and they are fine. A quick tidy up, clean the airbrush out. This has been the booth for another 3 to 5 minutes. And one final check before we throw the 2K away and thoroughly clean the airbrush properly. And that is a beautiful 2K clear coat with very minimal dust in there for once. And we've got a nice, even, glass-like finish all over the body. Very happy